and welcome back to my channel. Today I would love to talk a little bit about the 3 takeaway tips for April. In this time, of course, many of you are not going to eat out in restaurants or you're not working in your restaurants, but a lot of time the restaurant that you're working in has decided to have takeaway as an option. And I think it's a really great option to keep a small restaurant or even a chain of restaurants going during this time. It's a way to make money. People still need to eat. So we are actually in a great situation where we can help out people with food, especially those that don't know how to cook, to get some really good food. But we also need to think a little bit about the service. So today I have 3 different service tips for you regarding takeaway, and if you're called in to work for takeaway, how can you make that guest experience a little bit better? And besides doing that, you're gonna probably get them to come back again because they like your experience so much, but also you're going to generate more money for your restaurant, which they will in turn end up paying you. And of course, we just keep things going that way. So of course we want to make sure the guests end up coming back, and that's our total goal, but also by giving a great experience, we are actually making ourselves happy in a way, because you always, I believe, you get what you give back. For those of you that are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Ginny May. I'm the Intergalactic Supreme Goddess of Guest Service, and I've been in the service business for over 35 years, and I've been a personal trainer for the restaurant business for over 16. Let's get into tip number 1, and that is, of course, ordering by phone, because the guests most likely aren't going to come in and order the food and wait there for it. Sometimes, of course, that they do, but a lot of you have restaurants where you have a website, or maybe you have little pamphlets that went into the mailbox and someone ends up calling in and wanting to order. It is so important that the experience on the phone is a really, really good one. Think about that. If you have people eating in the restaurant, you have maybe an hour, 2 hours, maybe even a little bit longer to make a good rapport with these people so that they trust you, they like you, they have a great experience. But when you're doing a takeaway, this time limit is really squished down to a small amount, and you gotta have that positive experience in just a small amount of time. So that needs to start out when you're answering the phone. You need to have some sort of greeting. Don't just say, "Hi, this is Bob's Barbecue, and it's Ginny May. How may I help you?" I mean, if it's morning time, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or thank you so much for calling, or the sun's always shining at Bob's Barbecue, or whatever you want to say, something that's fun, up. And remember, when you are answering the phone, if possible, stand up, because that really gives a little bit more energy out of your voice and a little bit more enthusiasm, and also really try to smile. Sometimes when I'm on the phone a lot, I like to either put a funny picture on the wall or somewhere close by the phone that I can look at that reminds me to smile, or even just write the word smile to remind me to smile when I'm on the phone. Because when we smile on the phone, that actually comes through to the person that we're talking to. Even though they can't see us, they can really feel that we're actually smiling on the phone. When we're also smiling, we're also speaking a little bit more positively. And that, of course, also is going to increase the guest experience. When you answer the phone and you have your greeting and then the guest starts to talk, they might say, "Hi, this is Dawn," or "Hi, this is Julie," or "Hi, I'd like to order some takeaway," or "I'd like to order some takeout." Then right away, the next words that you have come out need to sound like you have just answered the phone from a long-time friend that you have not seen for a really long time. I mean, act really excited about that they have called. So you can say, "Julie, thank you so much for calling. I'm so glad you called. How may I assist you today?" or "How may I help you today?" And Julie might say, "I'd just like to get some takeaway. I want a pizza, and I want a side of this, and I want a side of that." You can say, "I'm so excited about this because we also have a little special in there. You can get your favorite in there," and help, of course, Julie throughout her takeaway order in the most excited and fun way that you possibly can, making her telephone experience like a really, really up and fun experience. You need to think that a lot of people right now, they're watching the news, they're a little bit down, maybe there's some hardship regarding the times and the things that have given us. And maybe this phone call, this small little phone call for just ordering your pizza or whatever you have on your takeaway menu, it's going to be such a great experience that you're like, wow, that was such a great experience. People always want to go back to something that was really fun. So right there, being enthusiastic and happy on the phone may just be a small enough amount that this person is going to end up calling you back again later this week or maybe next week for some more food. I would like to talk a little bit about the name. Let's say they say their name in the beginning, like we use Julie. Hi, my name is Julie. I'd like to order some takeout. Try to remember that name. My little trick is I always have a little pen and paper by the phone, and right away when they say the name, I write it down really quickly. Because a lot of times we're concentrated on how many of these they want or how many of these other items they want, and all of a sudden I forget their name. And at the end of the order, I was like, oh, can you please tell me your name? But I know they already told me. And you know what? If I have to ask them again, then their name wasn't so important. Then I wasn't really listening. And listening is one of the best compliments we can give to people. So please try to remember their name so you don't have to ask at the end. But a really good trick is try to use their name at least one time throughout the takeaway. Oh, I'd like some onion rings, or I'd like this extra sauce. Oh, thanks, Julie, that sounds wonderful. And at the very end, you can say, Julie, may I please ask for your last name? And then, because maybe there's 5 Julies picking up today. And saying their name at the end, people like usually to hear their name over again. So you say it once in the middle to confirm something, and then say it at the very end again. They'll feel important, they'll feel that you are really listening, that you really care, and of course that's also going to increase their takeaway experience on the phone. Trick number 2 for takeaway is try to answer every phone call within 3 rings or under. And it sounds, wow, that doesn't sound like so many rings, but you know what? Every single phone call you have might be so much money. I mean, think about how much your average spend is per guest or per takeaway, and think, wow, every single phone call is worth $20 or $30. So try to get someone or make someone available that they can answer that phone all the time. I know one time my youngest son, he needed to get a haircut. And I called on a Saturday morning, it was about 9:30, and I called the shopping mall, this is a long time ago, called the shopping mall and looked up a hairdresser and called them, and nobody answered. So I waited another 5 minutes and I thought, oh, this is a nice name. I've heard some good things about this hairdresser. And I called 5 minutes later and there was no answer. And then I thought, oh, okay, I'll call one more time in a couple more minutes. It was just about 10 o'clock. So I thought, oh, maybe they don't open till 10. And I called and I let it ring and ring and ring and ring, and nobody answered. So what did I do? I ended up taking the hairdresser that was closest to them. And they ended up answering the phone, and they ended up having a time, and of course, I ended up taking them. Maybe you think, wow, we have the best pizzas in our whole entire town, but you know what? If people are calling you up and you're not answering the phone, maybe they'll try one more time. Maybe they'll let it ring and ring and ring and ring, but people don't have that much patience anymore. I know around here, people don't even like to wait for the bus for maybe more than 2 minutes. They don't like to wait for the train or the metro for any length of time. And of course, when you're calling somebody, people have a very short attention span. And even though you might have the best pizzas in the neighborhood and you think, oh, if they can't get through because we have the best pizzas, they're gonna end up calling us back anyway. No, if they're hungry, there's a lot of other pizza places out there and they're gonna end up calling somebody else. So that $20 or $30 that was supposed to go to you, just because you didn't answer the phone on the 3rd ring, it's gonna go to somebody else. So answering this phone in these times are super important to, of course, catch all the guests that you can to come in. Tip number 3 is having a really big acknowledgement when that guest comes in the door. I know because we have to stay a little bit apart from each other right now, there may not be so many guests coming into your place to pick up at a time. So it's so important when that one guest ends up coming in, or maybe you have 2, that you acknowledge them with a big acknowledgement. I mean, look them in the eye, you see them coming in the door, smile, thank them so much for coming, and again, act like a lost friend that you haven't seen for a really long time, that you're really, really glad they came. Again, maybe their whole day outside of your little restaurant or takeout place right now is kind of a sad, dreary few days or weeks, and coming into your place, and then they get a big smile and an acknowledgement. They feel like, oh, they're so glad to see me. and you're showing that you really love to make the food for them, is going to be a really positive experience. And they're going to think, wow, this is a really happy place. I want to come back there again, especially maybe in a few days when they're having a bad day. They're like, oh, I really want to go somewhere happy. That's going to be that takeaway place. I'm going to call them up and go down there because they really like me. And of course, this is another way you can get these guests to end up coming back. So important to make that eye contact, welcome, and of course your really big smile when they come in the door. And remember, if you're a little bit shy, or maybe you're a chef in the back or something and they can see you cooking, let's say again those pizzas or something, please make eye contact, say something. It can just be something simple like, hey, welcome, thanks for coming in, or I'm making your pizza for you, it'll just be a few seconds, something like that. So think about next time you end up getting a takeaway. I think most of you have maybe gotten a takeaway in the last few weeks. How was your experience, and what is the difference between a blah experience and have you had any good experiences? I hope you can use some of these tricks when you go back to work in the takeaway, and you can make the experience for the guests a really fun one. In return, that's going to make your experience a really fun one. And of course, if it was amazing, wouldn't you go back as well? I really hope that you enjoy this video. If you are new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click the little bell icon so you don't miss a video every time I come out one. And I wish you a really great week. And if you're in the takeaway, a fantastic shift. And we'll see you next time. I'm Ginny May, the Intergalactic Supreme Goddess of Guest Service, and I thank you so much for watching my video. Please hit the thumbs up because it really helps our channel. And if you'd like more tips and tricks on service and how to up your service game, click here. And press on my face right here to subscribe. And don't forget to ring the little bell icon so you get a notification every time I come out with a new video. Follow me on Instagram, and let's go out and get amazing service.